hands, touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline. Hey, it's Nate with another piano tutorial. Today I'm doing Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond. This one was a request and it is so much fun to play and sing. Let's just get into it. Okay, so to get a few things out of the way right at the beginning, I recommend getting the chords and lyrics chart. You can get a link down in the description. That'll help you follow along and see where the chords line up with the words. Also, this song is in the key of B major. So that's all 5 sharps, and the only white keys are B and E. Also, we're in 4/4 time, so that means every measure is going to get 4 counts. We're kind of feeling like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, about like that. And let's just start off with the intro. That's the part that sounds like. In ways, the intro is the most complicated part of the song, and the instrumental that happens towards the end of the song is the same as the intro as well. So the intro consists of 7 measures of F sharp. We're just going to be doing F sharp fifths here in the left hand. So that's F sharp and C sharp. This is middle C here for reference. And for 7 measures, we just pulse 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. But the right hand will be doing this cool melody, and to do this melody we need to think in eighth notes. So instead of just 1, 2, 3, 4, we're thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So dividing the beats in half. The notes you're going to play for the first phrase of this section is going to be C sharp, D sharp, E, then again C sharp, D sharp, E, stepping back down, D sharp, C sharp, E, D sharp, C sharp. One more time. And now for the rhythm, thinking in those eighth notes, like I mentioned, 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So the whole phrase lasts 2 measures. 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Let's see if we can get that left hand back in there. 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Cool, so just spend a little time getting the hang of that, and then what happens in the recording is that melody continues and then higher melodies start to harmonize with it. The easy way to do this is to just play each higher melody on its own as it gets added. The harder way will be to actually layer them all on top of each other. I'm going to show you the easy way first. So after you do this first one we just learned, left hand just stays doing the same thing. We're going to move our hand up and put our thumb on E, and then the 3 notes are going to be E, F sharp, and G sharp. And you do the exact same pattern, the climbing up, down, up thing that we did. So it's going to be. Then the final phrase actually lasts for 3 measures. That's why it all adds up to 7. It's going to go all the way up, thumb on G sharp, and you're going to do. So that part's the same as it's been, but of course with the G sharp, the A sharp, and the B. So, and then this part's a little different. We do B, A sharp, all the way up to D sharp, C sharp. One more time for these 3 measures. Timing on that is 1 and 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Cool. So let me put that all together. Where it began, so that would be going into the verse. Before we do the verse, I'm going to show you a little bit more challenging way to do all those harmonies together. So it starts off the exact same way. Now we're gonna keep our thumb there and we're gonna add those higher harmonies like this. So it's gonna be 1 and 3 for the C sharp and E, step up to 2 and 4 on these two sharps here, and then E and G sharp third finger pinky. Sometimes if you are not used to stepping up thirds like that, that takes a little while to get the muscle memory and finger independence, but it's worth it if you want to stick with it. Finally, for the last one, we actually step up full triads like this. So that's how it starts. And then for the final moment, instead of just the D sharp and the C sharp, we're gonna add a sixth below it. So F sharp there, and then E there. So real quick, I'm just gonna play through it all this way. And again, if this is too tricky, don't let it hold you back from getting into enjoying playing this song. Totally just stick with the simpler version. All right, let's do that verse. Okay, so here's the underlying chord structure of the verse. And let's just start with the left hand. We're just gonna be pulsing quarter notes the whole time, and each chord lasts for 2 measures. We're gonna start off on B. Just like we were doing with the F sharp before, we're gonna do fifths here. So it's a B and F sharp. So that's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we've got E. We're gonna do this in thirds. Our hand can basically stay in the same spot, but our thumb is gonna go up to a G sharp, and then we're gonna play an E down here. So 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, back to B, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then down to F sharp, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the first half of the verse, and that's why there is a repeat sign there, because you just go back and do that again. And then on top of that, there's just a little bit of right hand accents we're gonna do. On the first measure, we're gonna play on 1, 2. So that's for the B. This is an inversion on a B major chord. We've got F sharp, B, and D sharp over here. So that's just gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're gonna do a really similar thing on E. The first 2 beats were on E. We're gonna do this inversion on a G major chord. Thumbs on G sharp, middle finger on B, pinky on E. Normally I might do that with my second finger. That fits the shape a little better, but getting back and forth between these two, it's nice to just keep that third finger there. Anyway, so that's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Back to B, same thing, just on those first 2 beats. And then we don't do anything with the right hand for the F sharp here. So, with the singing. Where it began, I can't begin to knowing, but then I know it's growing strong. Was in the spring, so then it just goes around a second time, different lyrics, and then we are in the pre-chorus. I love the pre-chorus, by the way. It feels really uplifting and emotional. That's going to be the hands, touching hands, reaching out. So we're going to keep that quarter note pulse going in the left hand. Here's the chords for this section. Starts on the B for 2 measures. I'm going to start just pulsing with the right hand as well. Also, starting here, I'm going to lay down on the sustain pedal so everything kind of rings out a little bit more. There's all these like strings and cool sounds happening here. So at its base, I'm just pulsing quarter notes with both hands. Then for the B6, the top note of each chord goes up. So you're going to do a G sharp with your thumb there, a G sharp with your pinky here. And that's going to be for 2 measures. Then we've got 2 measures of F sharp 7. Left hand's going to go down to the F sharp fifths we've been doing all along. And right hand's going to do a C sharp, E, and A sharp for 2 measures. And before we go on any further, I just want to mention, to approximate some of the cool, again, the strings or whatever's going on there, I'm going to do just a little bit extra kind of just fidgeting with the notes, just to kind of make it glimmer. So as bass, I'm just doing the quarter notes, but I might just kind of do that. You can play around with it as long as the sustain pedal's down. It really doesn't matter exactly what you do. So feel it out. I think it'll sound cool. So that's going to be hands, touching hands, reaching out. This whole time we're growing louder slowly, and then we've got touching me. So that's a E major chord. I switched to octaves here. So I'm going to be doing low E, still low E. This is middle C here. I'm going to be doing octaves from here through the chorus. If that's too much of a stretch for you, you could totally just do single low bass notes. But so I'm doing the octaves in this E major chord here. I'm doing it in, well, it's inverted from where we had it before. This is just a root position E major chord. E, G sharp, and B. So that's touching me, touching. Now we're gonna go up to F sharp octaves this time. And I'm gonna do the F sharp major chord in my right hand. It's an inversion on it. We've got a A sharp, a C sharp, gonna use my second finger there, and pinky on F sharp. Touching you, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 2 measures on that, and we've really kind of built up. We're playing loud. The chorus is about to slam into gear here. One little detail I might do here to really kind of lead into the chorus is in the last measure before the chorus here, just step down this B major scale, all the notes between the F sharp and the B to land on B. So it's going to be touching you, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, F sharp, E, D sharp, C. Cool, and then we are in the chorus. Sweet Caroline. All right, this part is so fun. So it starts out with just one measure of B. I'm gonna just do a root position B major chord here in the right hand, B, D sharp, F sharp, and again, octaves in the left hand, and I'm just slamming quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we have 3 measures of E. Left hand octave is gonna come up to there, and I'm gonna do E the same way we did it in the verses, except we were up here. I'm going to do it down here, and we've got 3 measures there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. That's where the hook happens. We'll talk about that in a second. And then it goes up to the F sharp major for 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So doing F sharp there the same way I did at the end of the pre-chorus. So there's a couple of ways you can do that big horn hook. I'm going to do it in octaves. The notes for the hook are E, D sharp, G sharp. So that's going to be like Sweet Caroline. And the timing there is Caroline. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 3, 4, 1, and then on the very next beat, I'm just going to kind of go back to hitting the quarter notes as I was. Now, if you have trouble doing the octaves, you could just kind of keep your right hand where it is for the chord and go, you know, Sweet Caroline. The only problem with that, it's definitely the easiest way to play it, but that hook is such a big part. That's the big moment of this song, and I think it will poke out better an octave higher. So if you're doing single notes, maybe you'll want to do Sweet Caroline and then kind of jump back down to join in with the E chords when you can. Now the second half of that chorus starts the same way. I've been inclined to believe they never would. So this time, when you get up to the F sharp, we're going to stop with the real hard quarter note pulls, and the chord's going to change every 2 counts. So these measures are kind of divided in half. Let's look at the left hand notes first. Again, I'm still going to do octaves. You can totally do single bass notes, but it's going to be F sharp, E, D sharp, C sharp. So just stepping down to the B, kind of like we did getting into the chorus. And for the right hand, we're going to do the F sharp just like we've been doing. We're going to do the E just like we've been doing. For the D sharp minor 7, we're going to do the right hand just like we've been doing for the F sharp. And then for the C sharp minor 7, we're going to do it just like we've been doing for the E. So the right hand's just kind of going back and forth between the F sharp shape and the E shape, while the left hand steps down and then kind of recontextualizes the right hand, and then we would land back in the verse. Cool. The one other totally optional detail that I think I'm going to add is between the two lines of that chorus, there's this little ba-da-da. I think it's some horns doing that melody. So I'm going to do it like this. Good times never seem so good. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The melody happens on the A sharp, B, C sharp. I'm going to use my thumb for those two notes and then my second finger, and I'm going to harmonize each of them with the F sharp. Never seems so good. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've been. Cool. I'll play through the whole chorus as I'm going to do it now. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would, but now I'm look at the night. So now we're in the second verse. And at this point, we've really pretty much covered everything for the song. The second verse is just like the first one, just different words, except a little bit of development. On the F sharp, where we're just doing fifths in the first verse, I'm just going to lightly add the right hand doing the chord as we've been voicing it there with the A sharp, C sharp, and F sharp. There's a little bit of piano in this verse that kind of makes it sound a little bit more full than the first one did. So, look at the night, and it don't seem so lonely. We fill it up with only 2. Just gentle on that. And then same thing again around. Then we've got another pre-chorus, another chorus. Then we've got the instrumental section, which is just like the intro. Then we've got the last chorus. Now, the last chorus is interesting because on the recording, after he goes around twice, and the words are a little different. He says Sweet Caroline twice and then says, I believe they never could. But then he starts to repeat it around again, but the song fades out pretty quickly there. You could try to do a little fade out like that, but that's really hard. Just solo piano. It ends up sounding kind of goofy. So instead, I'm just going to give it a decisive ending. So it's not totally true to the song, but I think it'll work better. So after the second time around that chorus, Sweet Caroline, I believe they never could. I'm just going to finish it up kind of like the other choruses did with, oh, no, no, and then just end on a B chord like that. That makes the song sound final. There we go. Okay, thank you for sticking with me. I'm going to now do a full cover so you can see how all those different parts fit together in the complete arrangement. I know I showed 2 difficulty levels for the intro/instrumental part. I'm going to do the easy way for the intro of my full run through and then the more difficult way for the instrumental section later on. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe, ring the bell so you know when I put out new videos like this. Have a look around my channel. You'll probably find some other songs you are interested in learning, and if there's anything you are dying to learn that you do not see, feel free to leave a request down in the comments. And like I mentioned, this one was a request. All right, here's my version of Sweet Caroline. Where it began, I can't begin to knowing, but then I know it's growing strong. Was in the spring, summer. Who'd have believed you'd come along? Hands, touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would, but now I'm look at the night, and it don't seem so lonely. We fill it up with only two. And when I hurting runs off my shoulder, how can I hurt when holding you? Warm, touching warm, reaching out, touching me, touching you. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good. I've been inclined to believe they never would. Oh no, no. Sweet Caroline, good times never seem so good.